toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm heavily medicated.
Hey.
Yes, he is. Woo!
And guess who's going to benefit? You, the listener.
That's right. That's right.
That grumpy Todd you've all become accustomed to, he's gone.
He's gone. He's yes. Yeah. I managed to break 3 ribs this week, and now I'm benefiting from the medical institution's solution to pretty much everything. So, anyways.
That's true. And Mexico's solution. But that's a whole nother story.
Better living through narcotics.
That's right.
Exactly. Don't do drugs, kids.
No, we don't. We don't recommend it
either.
unless you've broken ribs, and then definitely
Unless you've gone over the handlebars of your mountain bike while traveling at a high rate of speed. So
There you go. Exactly.
don't recommend that
Okay,
either.
so today we're going to talk a little bit about Prop Store Auction that's coming up next weekend as we record this on...
No, I think it's this
day it
weekend.
is.
I think it's as the show goes out. I think
thought
it's
it was
happening.
this weekend.
It's the
it's
29th and 30th.
I've been working home for a week. I literally have no idea what day or date it is. It's...
I'm going to
And
look
I'm
at
the
the
one.
catalog
And I'm the one
cover.
on drugs. Come on,
No, I
seriously,
think it's
guys.
the 30th and the 1st.
September
Monday, Tuesday?
30th,
Monday, Tuesday.
September 30th, and October 1st. It's
Monday,
it's like
Tuesday.
imminently. Yes.
As you listen to this, well, you probably will listen to this. I don't know. We're recording late, so if you're looking for this on Friday, we're not there.
It is Friday as we speak.
It
Yeah,
is
we're
Friday
there.
as we
You just
record.
can't get to us.
My fault.
We're
I was
live.
out of
If you
town.
want to tune in live, go ahead.
That's right.
You can.
We still
Anyway,
got to do that sometime.
more on that later. Let's
Yeah.
go random. I have several. I
Well,
guess.
I know there's 2 big things we have to talk about, but if you want to start, go
No,
for it.
Dave, jump in. What do you got?
Okay, I'll jump in. I'm assuming this is one of them. Maybe, maybe not. Spider-Man will be staying in the Marvel Universe.
As I
Really?
predicted.
Oh my God, that is shocking.
It's shocking. So I mean, I wonder if it was a ploy to give more attention to the Spider-Man movie
No.
while it was still
I
in the
don't think so.
theaters.
I mean, Disney
What?
wanted 50% stake. They settled for 25% stake, which is still way better than I guess they were. So, hey.
Everybody makes
so,
money.
yeah.
If you just
There'll be-
follow the same formula, everybody makes more money than you
That's
can
right.
count.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You and your crappy Sony movies won't make as much money anyway, so it'll
Yeah.
be fine. So
Yeah.
apparently he'll be in what they say another MCU movie, and then I guess Kevin Feige will help produce a standalone movie. I guess just like he did with the last
Right.
one. So
Yes.
all
Yeah.
good. Can't go wrong with that.
I'm
Sony's
actually
these
just
bunch of
surprised how
stupid.
quickly it got resolved. I thought this was going to drag on a little bit longer.
Oh no, they did not want the. They didn't want the negative press from this. This was. There was a lot of backlash. There was a lot of. I mean,
And was it leaked just to get it resolved?
It's very possible
Well-
Sony put it out there purposely to drive this deal.
they said the re-release of the movie didn't do well at all.
It's
So-
stupid. Let's stop doing those.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying other ones have done much better, and I think Sony was taking that as a indication that that they're being stupid.
Endgame re-release. Forget the re-release. A re-release 6 weeks after the movie's released is not a good idea.
Right, and
Yeah.
adding in extra bonus features is a stupid way to try to get people back in the theater.
And
If
you
you're
look
going to
like
really
money
change the
grubbing
movie up,
But Barry, you have argued that that a movie can be redeemed by doing that. So you're saying only if the movie's bad do you want to do that?
no, what I'm saying is don't do it 6 weeks after the movie's been
Yeah.
released. Bring it
It
back
just looks
6
like a
months
money
later
grab.
and give us a director's cut and maybe. But I'd rather,
Yeah.
honestly, save the director's cuts for home video.
Yeah.
I don't need
See,
that.
they are
director's
figuring
cuts for-
out that-
for movies that are bad.
The midsummer movie doesn't get all the audience that there is out there. So, yeah. But you got to pick a date. You can't really have it both ways.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Barry, what's the other big story?
I think the other big story is talking about Kevin Feige. It is now said that he is going to direct a Star Wars movie. They haven't said what.
Produce.
Okay,
yes.
Produce.
I don't think
whatever.
He's gonna direct.
They are trying to put lightning back in the bottle, and I'm assuming they want Kevin Feige for two reasons. One, he's admittedly a huge Star Wars fan, and two, he has been the architect of the biggest franchise in movie history, and
it's like peanut butter and chocolate.
Yes,
you can't go wrong with this.
You bring him in as a consultant, okay? I don't think you bring him in as a producer. I think you sit down with him and say, "What would you do if?" And
I think that you do this for those two reasons I said, but also because if you're Disney, forget about Lucasfilm, you're letting Kevin Feige do whatever he wants to keep him happy and keep him with you. Because I guarantee you, Netflix has approached Kevin Feige and probably offered him $1 billion to come do stuff for them, and Disney wants to keep him there.
But he is also the living embodiment of the guy with his dream job. Okay, this is what he absolutely loves doing,
but every guy with a dream job wants to work on Star Wars.
I want him exactly where he is, focused
do it?
on exactly what he's focused on. That's what I want.
He's done 22 movies in 10 years. He could throw a Star Wars movie in there, especially now while there's kind of a lull.
Yeah, but let them bail themselves out. I mean, come on, seriously.
Well,
no, I think I'm all for it.
I
They're
am
making
too.
A smart move.
Just like I was happy with J.J. Abrams, I think that Feige's another guy who has proven he can do no wrong. And if he can breathe a different kind of life into Star... I mean, they've already said that they're not, they haven't officially announced the Rian Johnson movies being dead, but I think...
That should have been... And Rian Johnson is now been deported to...
But Rian Johnson, interestingly, has announced his next one or two projects, which means he's not working on a Star Wars movie.
No, he's not.
So...
And it's funny. I think, again, what they want is... They want to figure out why their universe hasn't done, what the Marvel universe is doing. And... Because they tried doing exactly the same thing. They tried throwing a bunch of projects out rapidly. I would argue they tried to do almost the same thing because they didn't have a Kevin Feige leading the ship. That was what it's been missing this whole time.
Yeah,
but the thing is, they didn't do the same thing because the Marvel films weave together, okay? And the films that we got actually spread apart, okay? They made the universe more disparate as opposed to tighter. And So, anyways,
I welcome him to the Star Wars universe.
I feel his talent.
But I also like that they didn't say he's doing a trilogy or that they said he's making a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, and honestly, at this point, they are so desperate for something to work extremely well. They're going to just keep announcing things until something
But
works.
they also need to stop thinking in trilogies. Everything can't be planned as a 3-movie arc all the time.
That's right. They should. What is the word for? What is it? 23 eulogy.
A 20-trilogy?
What is it when you make 23 films that all tied together? But you're right. You got to. You have to start by just saying, let's just make a really good film.
The problem is, and I think if you really dig into their problems, it is. I feel like it's on the producing end. I mean, hey, I'm not saying this officially, and I don't condone the next sentence out of my mouth. Rian Johnson may be an okay director. I don't know, but Looper was okay.
I've liked some of his movies. Look, we've beat this to death already.
No, but
I don't know that the problem with
Solo, the production, they're throwing in a producer who's sort of along for the ride of a director, and that's always a problem.
It is, and their other big problem is that they put a schedule out and rushed a lot of stuff that wasn't ready, rather than say, we're going to start developing things, and when they're ready, we're going to release them. They were trying to get into that cadence of 2 movies a year.
I still say, sit down with somebody who goes to Star Wars films but isn't a Star Wars fan. It is an entirely different problem. They're nothing ties together. There's no cohesion whatsoever between those films.
That is an overarching producer issue.
Yeah, And that's
And
what
Kathleen
I'm saying.
Kennedy's
It's like
not
it's
doing her job.
they threw 3 darts at the dartboard, and one of them went into the next bar. People don't know what to do with these films, so
Right,
that's what.
But like some of the Marvel movies have jumped along a timeline as well, but people were able to follow that better than they did with Star Wars.
They're grounded in a universe that has visual cues to when they take place. I'm telling you, Barry, you know this universe. You can look at the vehicles they're flying and tell you what time it is. Just like we can do the same thing with a Star Trek movie. We can say, oh, that's this era, that's this era. Normals don't think that way, and they need the vast majority of people who see that film to be normals. And it just. Yeah. Again, I've talked to people about these films, and they're like, "Oh, I saw the new film." Oh, you saw this? No. Oh, there's another one, and it just they were.
I also think that Star Wars is and has always been a different beast, and I don't think you can. The cadence of movies twice a year probably is never going to work for Star Wars, and maybe shouldn't. Even if they could get it to work, I'm not sure we need that much output. And now with the Disney Plus thing, you're going to have your recurring, arc series there, 1 or 2 of those a year. Maybe make the movies a little bit more special.
You could have released 2 of the prequels 6 months apart. If you shot them together or whatever like that. If it's a contiguous story, you could get away with that. Look at what they did with the Harry Potter films. Okay, it's just a matter of, like I said, you've got to make it. You can't make the film for the 15% of the audience that is going to suck up everything and going to be into everything. It's gotten too confusing.
Well, I'm hoping that Feige's involvement is a positive sign.
I agree. He's the kind of thing we need. Anyway, Todd, do you have any other random?
Let's see. Those are the first 2. Those are Amazon is now. I don't know if you saw this with Alexa. They're going to be doing celebrity voices.
I did hear that.
Okay, and one of them that they mentioned was Samuel L. Jackson. Okay, not sure about that. Who
you
would
could have
you
the
want?
Explicit or non-explicit version.
Who would you want? Yeah, that's right.
My top of my list is Paul Bettany. I want Jarvis.
Okay, see, my 2 things were actually Paul Bettany and Scarlett Johansson. So
I would say Scarlett Johansson. I wish
because
Majel
you get the
Barrett
her
was
thing
still
going
alive,
too.
Because I would like the computer.
Yeah, Majel Barrett
voice.
would have been good too.
Yeah. So
I have a feeling it's not going to be everything. He's only recording so many things.
But it's also it's the same thing as the like when Garmins and Tom Toms and shit were a thing. You could get celebrity voices for those, and they recorded them. I mean, yeah, they probably have.
I had Darth Vader and Yoda at one point on my GPS.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they never. The difference was they never said. They don't say make a left at Main Street. They say make a left at the next street. They never said the street names.
Yep.
And that was really annoying.
But listening to Yoda say roundabout was one of the funniest things ever.
That's funny. Yep. I was actually in a car with someone who, it took me a while to figure it out. They had Dennis Hopper as their voice. And and when we arrived, he said, "You're totally there, man." So, anyways, I thought that was good. That was the best part.
Barry, you have any other random?
Nope. Dave,
The only other thing I have is they are rebooting Texas Walker Texas Ranger. One of the brothers from Supernatural, Jared Padalecki, is actually going to star and produce. I don't think anyone's grabbed it yet, but most likely the CW.
Is he related to Adrian Palicki?
It's Padalecki.
Oh, I thought you said
She's
Palicki.
different.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Interesting.
So he's got something to do after Supernatural.
The fact that
15th
Hawaii
season.
Five-0 is still on, I guess, breeds some hope for that to survive.
We had that year, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where every third series was a
reboot. Totally
Last year, I think Magnum was the only one. And some of them worked.
Well, there was stuff from movies and stuff.
They rebooted MacGyver a year or two ago, didn't they?
No, that was MacGyver was that year.
Still on.
MacGyver is still on. But that was the. Hey, when we were talking shows last week, and I can't think of the title of it because I'm drugged up, but the Apple TV series with the space program didn't mention that.
I just saw the commercial for that. For All Mankind.
For All Mankind. I'm interested in that. I think that
I'm very interested in. I forgot to write that down.
Wait, that's not the Steve Carell one, right? Because there's also a Steve Carell space show on Netflix that's coming
thing.
On Apple.
And Ron Moore's doing that.
Yeah, this is like basically kind of like the Man in the High Castle kind of thing, in that it's an alternate history. So it's basically what if
landed on the moon first.
Yeah, if the Russians had more or less won the space.
Oh, that sounds cool. I didn't see a trailer for that.
I hated to see that because that's something on Apple that I want to see, and I didn't want to rent.
You do not want one more streaming service, but
buy a new Apple device. You get it for a year for free.
Meaning what? Like a phone or an Apple TV?
An Apple TV, an iPad, I think.
I just bought a computer. Won't they give it to me?
So what do you need? What do you need from that?
I'm not sure how it works.
One of us buys dozens of Apple devices each year. So let's look into that.
So we'll make that work.
Into that. So. Honestly, at this point, I would, not that I want Apple just for this one show, but I would drop Netflix. There's nothing I'm watching on Netflix. I mean, nothing that's good.
I was watching, I'm like 3 episodes in The Spy. Have either of you heard about this?
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
I've heard of it.
Okay. So The Spy is a true story about an Israeli spy who goes to Syria, and he's played by Sacha Baron Cohen, and it's completely straight.
Yeah, I did see that. I'm over him.
Yeah, it's bizarre watching it. I don't think it's particularly good, but there's a novelty of seeing him in a completely straight role. But it's I will say, having watched 3 episodes of it, it's kind of like whoever wrote this saw like 3 spy movies and just used all those plot elements, because it's incredibly predictable.
I just started watching a show.
Was Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I just started watching a show on Netflix called Working Moms. It's a 22-minute sitcom, but it has the distinction of, in the first scene of the first episode, all 3 main female characters being topless. In the first scene.
Okay, so this is like working in the sense of like working girl working?
No, that they're actual women that have jobs and kids, and it's a comedy though. My wife started watching it and said it was good, so I said I'd give it a try. It's actually,
I just watched Working Girl the other night. In the past 3 nights I've watched War Games, Working Girl, and some other movie from the 80s. I don't know why, but anyway, just saying.
Okay.
All right.
But I don't know. Netflix isn't doing it for me. I mean, I'll watch. I like Ozark, but it's like the.
But Dave, you know where our future is that we're all going to be paying for 5 or 6 of these streaming services, and then we'll either be managing them more closely and adding and deleting as we have shows in season, or we're all just going to be paying for them.
I feel like Disney will have a ton to watch. I feel like the Star Trek channel will have more as we go further down the road, but to pay $12 for Netflix just because it's sort of the name recognition,
and that's
Amazon
the thing too,
is worth more.
I'm seriously thinking about that, is saying, okay, there's nothing I want right now. I'm going to drop it till there is. But I'm also wondering if that's why they're now looking at doing weekly shows.
But you've got Netflix, you've got Hulu, you've got CBS All Access. You're going to have Disney Plus. You're going to have HBO Max, and then you've got the Peacock Network. That's 6 right there.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more.
It's going to be a problem. Anyway, moving right along. Let's go to the No, let's not go there. Even more important.
There's somewhere better to go.
Let's go to our favorite store, Fanboy Collectibles.
Hey, this next weekend, starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, New York Comic-Con, Fanboy Collectibles will have a booth there. So if you're at New York Comic-Con, make sure you make sure you stop by and say hi. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you.
Ask for Troy.
We'll be there on Friday.
He'll probably be there.
If anyone's
at the booth,
let us know, and we'll say hi to you as well.
Yeah, we'll be there Friday. It's going to be awesome.
Yes. Star Wars Hot Toys Jawa.
Jawa and Power Droid 2-pack.
And Power Droid Gonk. Isn't it the Gonk droid?
It is also known as a Gonk droid, yes.
That's interesting.
I ordered it.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh,
Of course you did.
That's why I was talking to Troy the other
You
day.
need like 6 Jawas, though. You can't have one.
Well, I guarantee you they're going to release a Jawa and a different droid like once a year. I bet R5D4 is coming next. And then maybe
Jawa and R5D4 or whatever his name is.
And then maybe
That's
the Treadwell
an interesting
droid.
concept. Yeah,
I will do that. I am in for that.
That's
If
pretty
I
clever.
can get like 2 or 3 Jawas, because some of the Jawas were different heights. Some of them had a vest. So if they mix it up and they do the different Jawas.
After the 4th or 5th year, they'll start doing charred Jawas.
Yes.
Post-attack
That'd be great.
Jawas.
Those are a bonus pack.
So yes,
anyway,
I'm
there's
in.
that. There's a ton of diamond statues.
Yes.
Nightwing, Batman, and everything. Check them out. There's tons of
There
diamond
is
statues.
there's a Hot Toys Yoda in stock now, too.
Hot Toys Yoda in stock.
Yes.
Barry has that.
I don't have
No.
that one. That's the
That's episode
prequel.
2, and he's got a lightsaber. That's pretty cool.
That
That
a
is
cool one.
cool. I was looking at that. It's
With him with the lightsaber, I don't know. That could be interesting to have. So all that stuff, sideshow, pops. You can't get enough pops if you like pops. Check them out at New York Comic Con this weekend. Online at filmboycollectibles.com and at their store in Newtown, Connecticut, except for this weekend. Tell them the regular Joe sent you. Okay, prop store auction. They have auctions all the time. We bought our triples from Prop Store,
Yes,
didn't
we
we?
did.
Yes, we did.
We did. We actually won something from one of their auctions. I don't think there's a single thing in this auction that's affordable, to be honest with you.
Yep, I would say that.
But again, we've said this a million times about these auctions. Download the PDF of the catalog, even if you don't want to bid. Just looking at the close-up photos of this stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it is really cool. And the thing is, you know what's crazy about this one? Some of the prices were very high, and they're in pounds. So I don't know what the exchange rate is today, but you add at least 30% on them.
Yeah,
right?
and there's probably I didn't look to see what the buyer's premium is, but it's probably close to 30%.
I think it's about 15. I think it's more like about 15%.
No,
I think it's 25.
I think it's 25 to 30%.
Is it really? Because I just looked up 200 pounds for something else I was looking at. It came out to like 235. But
You start
Someone
talking
just
about the
texted
auction.
me-
I'm going to look and see if I can find the answer to that.
okay,
Someone just texted me, did I watch episode 4 of Titans, Todd? And I thought that was you, and it was somebody else, actually.
no, okay. So let me just ask this, jumping out. First thing, what is you're spending someone else's money, and you're gonna pick a single object from this, and you can only have the one.
There's no question. Absolutely
there's
easy
no
question for me.
I know what. And we can only have, if someone else on this group picked it, we can't have it.
You can't have
I'm
it.
picking the Stormtrooper helmet.
Then
Barry, what about you?
I'm picking the axe to chop you up and take your helmet.
The Shining Axe?
The axe from The Shining. Yeah, I thought that might be your choice, Todd.
Yep, I
That's
would
almost
take the
affordable.
Grail Tablet from Last Crusade. I just think it's fantastic in that it is what it is. You know exactly what it is when you look at it, and it would
We can
display
make
really
that
well.
in the Glowforge, I think.
I think we should. But yeah. There's some
the-
cool stuff here.
There's the Stormtrooper helmet we saw at Celebration. It was in that. We saw the whole story.
Yeah, Dave
of
and
that
I
thing,
actually
which
went
is-
to a panel. Todd, I don't
So
think
did
you
Todd.
came with
Did
us.
Todd go?
I
you
didn't
there,
go
Todd?
to that one.
He didn't go to that with
Oh,
us.
okay.
No.
But yeah, we were at a panel where they actually had that helmet. We actually got very up close to it. We were probably 6 inches away from it. After the panel, they had it on a table where you could look at it. And
Yeah.
by the way, the buyer's premium is 23% plus VAT tax if applicable.
Okay.
That helmet is, let's say the helmet's off the table. That's a tough thing. There's some like quirky things like a rollerball.
I saw that. I
Okay.
thought you'd like that, Dave.
Yeah.
Not that it's even a big thing. A Batman emblem from '66.
Yeah,
Batman.
I had that in my column for you. Yep.
You know,
I don't know.
maybe Nimoy's tunic.
That's actually that would truly
TOS.
be my first choice thing. Is I would want that, but like I said, I've said that like 4 times now.
That helmet, though, just going back to the
thing.
helmet for a minute. The helmet, I mean, even the helmet is what it is. It's the story that goes along with it that I think we probably told episodes back after Celebration. But the story that goes along with it just makes it even that much more impressive.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's literally screen matched, but based on the bumps in the paint job,
Right, yeah.
two scenes from the movie. That like it is definitively, it's probably the best Stormtrooper helmet still in existence, because all the ones in the Lucasfilm archive got repainted and reworked for future movies, and this one went into hiding for 35 years.
Or was used as an ice bucket. But,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
crazy.
And you know what's interesting? You mentioned spot. There are a number of things in here that I think didn't sell in other auctions, which is interesting.
oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I was going to say, there's definitely some things here that we've seen before.
And then
there's
there's
at
some
least
just odd one-offs.
Okay,
Just like
there's at least one thing in here that I think we've seen in person before.
Yeah, I don't know if that's.
I'm not
there's
sure
a
if
lot
that's
of
the
those
same one.
costumes.
Because the one that we
Yeah,
saw, we were told was
I-
being done for a collector.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those suits. We're talking about this '89 Batman suit.
Okay.
I do think, they do have two things, and they have a '66 Batman emblem, which is just basically cardboard. It's literally painted cardboard.
So,
And then they have a Batman
Batarang.
Forever emblem.
Oh.
It would be cool to have the Batman's emblem from all the Batman movies.
I was
That would be
actually
an awesome
thinking
collection.
we should start like Glowforge. We should come up with a Glowforge project with all those.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be
I think
cool.
it would be cool. What do you think of the Batarang? I mean, the Batarang
and
seems
it's
like
metal.
That seems like crazy money to me.
Well, but it's an actual prop from that show, unlike,
Yeah,
you know...
but yeah,
How much is it? I have one. It was $50. It's right there. You can see it right there.
yeah, it's 40 to 60,000 pounds.
Well, it's signed by him. He's passed away. It's metal. It's definitely one of the hero ones. So, it is a little on the high side.
All right, so something that I really liked, which is kind of a gross thing to have on display, but it's just so awesome, is the effect space hugger from the first Alien movie.
Oh,
my God,
yeah, that was the first thing.
definitely
That's
at
the
top
first
of
thing.
my list.
And the way they
grabbed.
have it displayed, it just makes it so cool.
Also,
That's-
I love the little articulation stuff on the inside.
Yeah.
That was very
Yeah, there was
interesting.
one that breathed, or that it had some little bladders in it.
Yeah, but this one clearly was articulated so that the fingery things would move.
Oh, is that what? I didn't
Right,
read
yeah.
the whole
Oh, yeah,
description.
that's awesome. So it must
And
like
that's estimated to go for 50 to 70,000 pounds. So
yeah, I
Because
don't know about
the
that.
prices are just ridiculous.
yeah,
You know, one of the things from Aliens was they've got like concept art, and those pieces are fairly expensive. I don't know if I want concept art for something that wasn't produced. You know what I'm saying? If I would pay that much, because like the drop ship that they didn't produce is actually very cool looking, and I saved that
Yeah,
picture.
that's sort
but
of not.
but
the
that's a
thing.
lot of money for something that
yes.
wasn't actually made.
When I first saw, well, there's also a dropship model in the auction, isn't there?
Right? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh,
think that there's people out there that collect that, pre-production, production material stuff, but I mean, and I'm sure it's nice, and I wouldn't turn one away if somebody gave it to me, but if I'm spending real money, I want
Yeah,
that
it just
a prop.
seems like a lot of money for something that doesn't exist. But I guess if you're a crazy fan of that film,
I think some of the Ralph McQuarrie concept sketches,
See,
and
that's different,
Original paintings, that's some sweet
That's
stuff.
different.
right
that's
Yeah.
that's any of that.
You
stuff.
know what?
do
Going
you
to
think?
another space franchise that I love and is near and dear, they've got some really cool Galactica stuff, too.
Yeah.
There is. That's what I was just looking at. One of the things I was going to say, Barry, was what I find really interesting is looking at those models, how crude they are, and how clearly, and I'm not talking about the Vipers, I'm talking about the ancillary ships, but how clearly those are made of airplane models.
Oh, yeah.
That they've just they just grafted together and turned the planes around and
But
stuff.
the John Dykstra lighting and all the effects make it look so awesome on
It
screen.
really, really does. And but again, when you think about it, they had how many ships were there in the ragtag fleet? They had to crank out a whole
And
bunch
they
of
were
models.
behind
Colonial
other
movers.
ones, so yeah.
So,
But they've got a full silver and gold Cylon suit
And
Yes.
the gold one's cheaper, which is interesting. I guess the silver's the classic, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Those I didn't think were ridiculously priced. I mean,
No, but they could go for way more than that too.
Yeah.
And they've got the Muffet Daggett costume.
I know,
full
right?
Daggett. It's like it's
You gotta get your own monkey to stick in there.
And that's estimated to go for as much as more than the gold Cylon suit.
There's only one Muffet.
that is not
and it's a hero
that is
character.
not tremendously impressive looking. I got to say.
No,
I feel
if
like
you
I
were-
feel like
if-
with a stuffed animal and some random hardware, you can make one of those.
yeah, there's model parts that make up that nose
Yes,
and stuff,
yep.
but it's still
If
kind
you
of
were
cool.
worn on a chimpanzee for 22 episodes, you wouldn't look so good either.
Also, a
Yeah,
good
and I bet
point,
it
yes.
smells really good on the inside too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What else? What else did
that
you guys
was back
see?
before there's like animal rights and stuff. They probably tortured that poor monkey
Oh, I'm
in that
sure.
episode, in that outfit. That's horrible.
Ghost Trap.
Ghost Trap.
Yeah.
That's
That's up there.
And that's
Yeah.
that's the special effects one with the lighting in it and
right.
everything.
Yeah, radio controlled.
You see the
that was
estimates
good.
on that? That's estimated to go up to 120,000.
That's what they're saying. The other thing is, they've got jumpsuits both from the first one and the second one. Those are kind of cool.
Which is interesting. The second one, they're gray, and that one is clearly tan. I'm not sure what that's all about. Maybe someone a Ghostbuster fan can chime in on that,
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
because that's definitely not the color of the. I thought I could be wrong.
So going back to the Nimoy tunic for a second,
Sure.
I find it really interesting that they seem to have narrowed down that the specific episodes this one was worn in. They said based on the placement and stitching of the Science Division patch, it's from the Ultimate Computer and the Omega Glory. Like that seems
Well,
very
when they-
specific.
When they transferred those shows to high definition, the detail that came out, you can see the coffee stains on
You
some
can
of
see the coffee
Yep.
stains. I mean, there's a lot of really distinctive stuff like that. Yeah, but you got to think these were worn. Well, like I guess
Well, I think they're just saying those are what they
it
identified.
was
They must have had a
definitively
ton.
in that episode. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a second season, and they've screen matched it to those episodes, which is just crazy.
That is
Other Star Trek stuff. One of the things that to me is, it just made me sad was from the Wrath of Khan. You know that weird wrist computers they wore, which made no sense.
Yep.
They in the motion picture they had wrist computers. Sorry, wrist communicators. Alexa's talking to me. And they, at least whether you like the wrist thing or not, they had a lot to them. They were smart. And then in the next thing, they had these giant things. It literally looked like a hunk of plastic, and then the sort of wording was on a piece of paper, just like glued to it.
yeah.
It's
Because they were
awful.
never in close-up shots, so why bother making
It's
them
kind of
look
like taking a GI Joe prop and gluing a couple things to it and making.
But
a
it
poster.
was
making a
just
Bozeman whistle out of it.
That brick price, if he's the dude, he should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, I
forgot
mean,
which-
nowadays they make everything that looks incredible, even if you never even see it. Like, the detail they put into props is astounding.
I think the props they did in motion picture were actually they well thought out. The phasers, the wrist things.
Well, they cut their budget so dramatically.
If they had kept,
tricorder.
I actually think. I mean, I like the uniforms in the subsequent films. I think they could have actually kept those aesthetics and done something better with the story and stuff like that. I don't really have a problem with the art direction in that film. I don't think it was.
I don't either. I think it almost is a natural progression, whereas
where the other
the
just is a-
maroon things are not really didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And they hung on for way too long.
Yeah.
I like those uniforms when I remember them first coming out.
I did, and again, it did make sense. I like the variety in there. They had the different types of uniforms they had with the short sleeve and the long
Really,
sleeve.
and I remember reading they spent a lot of money, obviously, on that.
Yeah.
But then the next bunch of movies, they really didn't think that stuff out as well.
yeah.
There's other weird stuff. There's like a weird clipboard from the motion picture, which just looks totally ridiculous. There's a nice Voyager phaser, one of the very late,
Yes.
sort of dolphin phasers.
Yep.
Those I think are really sleek.
Yeah. One of the things I found really interesting is they have a transporter pod from a Space 1999 Eagle. So this is basically a box that's slung underneath it's the cargo compartment of one of their transports, and they had that for 15 to 20,000 pounds. I thought that was like
15 to 20,000.
I know, it just seems to me. It seems like a fairly that is definitely something that I don't think. Well, I mean, they have an audience.
That was like
but
one Space 1999 thing. They had like 2 Planet of the Apes things. They had like one Princess Bride thing. I feel like there's a lot of random stuff sort of thrown in here.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned it earlier about chopping you to pieces with it, but the axe from The Shining, like that's kind of a one-off thing too.
That is, yeah.
But I was reading in the catalog, it talks that I guess when they finished filming, they sold stuff off to members of the crew, and one of the members of the crew bought the axe and has had it all this time.
That's interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
In terms of stuff that's like used in production, like crew hats and slates and things like that, does any of that stuff have any appeal to you?
Some of the Raiders hats, depending on if you really knew which one it was, and those aren't that expensive.
Yeah, that's because I was looking at that.
Photos
I've never really paid attention to that before.
But I've seen there are famous photos of Spielberg wearing those hats. Yeah, and I don't remember where it is now, but there used to be a place in Hollywood that had a mural painted on the inside of it of Spielberg on the set wearing that hat. So I remember seeing that the first time I was ever in LA.
Oh, he wore that. There's definitely pictures of those hats, but like whose was it? And I mean,
there's a whole collecting community around cast and crew items.
Oh,
there is.
Yeah.
Yep. The jackets. I actually saw somebody who had basically a wall of half mannequins with all with crew jackets.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I had 2 from movies I worked on. I still keep them. They're not worth money, and no one wants them.
Yeah.
Is it from movies we've heard of?
Mermaids. I have
the Mermaids one
jacket, and I have from the TV series I worked on.
Oh.
The jacket was nice. I mean, it's wool with leather sleeves and stuff. They had nice jackets.
One of the things that I had never really thought of before, but it would look kind of. They had Tom Hanks, Thompson from Submachine Gun from Saving Private Ryan. That would be really cool next to a picture, and I think that's how you'd have to display something like that, because otherwise it's just And
they had his running shoes from Forrest Gump too,
right? But they also had a helmet signed by the cast.
Yeah, I
did and Spielberg. That seems really low. That's 3,000 to 5,000.
No, that would go for way more.
Yeah,
but these estimates, they always put these estimates low on a lot of the items to try to
some of them. But again, for that Thompson to be 20 to 30, and that helmet with the signatures to be 3 to 5, that just struck me as odd. So,
Barry, I'm sure you read the story. What do you think of that Luke lightsaber? There's a lot of explaining going on.
I think it's
page.
Actually kind of ballsy to put that out at all, given what happened. Was it 2 years ago with the lightsaber that was supposed to go up for auction in New York that they pulled?
They pulled, yeah.
I don't know.
When I read, and again, nothing against Propstar, they're solid dudes, and I applaud them for explaining exactly what it is. But provenance being like someone who was the son of someone and gave it to someone else, that's kind of...
It's a little bit of a stretch.
Shady. Or shaky, yeah. I should not. Shady's the wrong word.
Yeah, I would say, because it's so easy to have, So,
how many lightsabers were there? It sounds like there's a lot.
There were a lot, and they're based off of a Graflex handle that there were tens of thousands of, and are in tons of people's collections. And I've even heard stories that there are. Actually, the story from the lightsaber from the last auction. The guy that made them for the movie still has pieces in his garage that he could make more from, and so it's so hard to. And I'm not saying that's the case here. I'm just saying it's so hard to know.
At some point, it's like I might have used this analogy before, but with like the Shelby Cobras, they're actually now more more verified Shelby Cobras than were ever produced. So, yeah.
Yeah,
It is
I
what
mean,
it is.
and I
It's a
think
tough
that the
thing.
real hero lightsabers are in the possession of the Lucas Archives. I know Mark Hamill's got some. I think that some of the pieces went to like the producers and directors on episodes 5 and 6. Like they're in the hands of people that probably aren't letting them go. So I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of the things that caught my eye that was, I guess it's reasonable. I'm not going to spend. It's a between 1,000 to 1,500 pounds is what they expected. Was a blueprint from the spinner from Blade Runner? That looks really cool. That would be an awesome looking thing to have, framed nicely and displayed.
One of the oddest things was the holy hand grenade from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I mean, classic item, but it just looks like a piece of garbage.
Yeah. Another thing was the which I think would be a really cool display would be John McClane's vest, badge, and holster rig with
that's cool.
displayed
I
with
have
the
that
T-shirt.
down, too. That
That is iconic. That's the kind of thing that you're going to see that exactly what it is, and that's great. Another one of those kind of things is John Hammond's cane from Jurassic Park.
It's a prototype.
It's a prototype of
Yeah.
it. That would have been on my list if it wasn't for the fact that it wasn't
Yeah.
the one used in the movie.
There's a lot of things that are almost there. A prototype, before this, Ripley's underwear, which is famous, but it's from Aliens 3, not from Alien.
Right.
And you remember that bit when we were at Celebration, they had the Han Solo jacket from Empire. They've got the prototype of that jacket in this auction. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Misfits versions.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. One sort of obscure thing you would want to have that you had on your list, something that's a little more obscure.
I don't know. I feel like I talked about just about everything that I would want to own.
I will go with
Sort of. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
the Star Trek Flying Parasite, which looks just like a blob of
Boy, it really does. Yeah,
of rubber cement.
It's rubber vomit, basically, is what it looks like. Yeah, yep.
I'll take that.
I don't know if it's really obscure, but I think the one of the Velociraptor claws from Jurassic Park would just be really cool.
Those are cool. Yeah.
So they also had the I think it was actually the last thing that I screenshot was Mulder and Scully's badges.
Oh, I had that down.
Those
too.
are cool.
So.
I mean, did you see they've got the full size light up functional Prometheus like regeneration chamber?
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell that
I
thing.
just kept scrolling through the Prometheus
that
stuff.
thing is enormous. I mean, I remember that from the movie.
Alien versus
Yeah,
Predator
shipping on that would be very reasonable, I'm certain.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, yeah.
Well, so it's kind of like
I
when
had a
shipping on the
freaking
thing.
wooden console shipped
Dave
and it
got.
almost broke the bank. Let's not go there again.
All right, so while we're wrapping up auctions, I did just want to mention there was another auction this week that actually ended already. Let me just get back to the folder I had the pictures in. It ended, as we record this, it was yesterday, but it's from a company that I've not heard of called iCollector.com. It's an online auction. They claim to have had, and I'm not saying it's not, they claim to have had David Prowse's Darth Vader screen-used helmet from Empire Strikes Back. I hope it's real, because it sold with buyer's premium for $1.1 million yesterday.
What's the word on the street on that?
I don't know. I caught this yesterday. The buyer's premium alone was $252,000 because it was a 28% buyer's premium.
Oof.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And they've got a whole story here that goes with it. They estimated it at 250 to 450, and it sold for 900 and change plus buyer's premium. It was over.
They asked some people
$1.1 million. They also had Dorothy's dress from The Wizard of Oz that sold for $750,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I get outbid on
wear
that
those
one.
together.
I just
That would be a
couldn't go
cool
that far on it.
combination. That dress, the checkered dress, and the Vader helmet.
Yes.
But I mean, if it's really a
kinda
Vader
would,
helmet from
yep.
Empire, I mean, yeah, okay, I get it. But
That's odd that they had it, and there's been no press about it. I mean, at least that I saw anyway. I mean,
crazy.
I don't know. Anyway, let us know what you either like, want, or are actually bidding on. I mean, some of this stuff is just hard to believe that anyone can actually afford this stuff.
We know that some of the listeners to our show collect this kind of stuff, so if you're bidding, let us know. Let us know what you win.
Can afford it, let's be our friends. Let's go. What's on my workbench? Yeah, we're going to wrap up the show with that.
Well, if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning.
Regular Joe's What's on My Workbench.
Barry, what's on your workbench?
I have something that is completed, so it's off my workbench, but I never told you guys about it, and that's rare because I'm usually every weekend sending you 100 pictures of shit I'm working on. Not my favorite movie in the world, but I've always loved this ship. This is the Orion Space Clipper from 2001, Space Odyssey.
Oh, I love that.
I thought you would.
That's fantastic.
I follow a guy on Instagram called Plastic Wars, and he builds models and posts pictures every day. And I saw him build this kit, and I was like, I always loved the design of the ship. I always liked the fact that it's kind of part airplane, kind of part spaceship. And I loved the fact that in the movie it actually had the Pan Am emblems on it, and it said Pan American on it. And what's interesting is this model kit was released in '68 when the movie came out.
Yep.
They re-released it in '75. And then Mobius just re-released it recently, but the most recent releases don't have the Pan Am stickers on them. So I had to buy those aftermarket because there are people that sell them.
Oh, that's cool.
Or you could,
let me turn this
you could
light
do
off,
the Catch Me If You Can thing, and you could buy jets and put them in the bathtub.
Yeah.
But
so one of the cool things about this kit, and I'm turning this light off. You can't really see with this light washing out the. Here we go. I mean, there's a lot of paneling on it and detailing.
Oh, yeah.
So the Aztecing there, did you paint that, or is that decal?
It's decals, but they were so bold that I ended up doing an overspray of white over them to try to dull them down a little bit, because they were very, very bright. And
get some good pictures of that, Barry, for the website.
I will. I mean, there's panels all on the bottom of it. There was some actual complicated parts, like painting these weirdly shaped engines in interior black, but like this little stripe down the front white, and then there's
that's nice. Very well done.
Two very small, like pointy things that come off the back of the ship.
Yeah.
It's not a huge kit, but I really liked it, and with the extra,
I love that. I would
decals.
I would buy one of those if one of those was done. It's a really cool thing. It's very kind of like it's very much of that era. We have I have two big iMacs in my office that are on a high shelf that have functions running on them, and so we have different pictures that rotate through in a series, and that's one of the pictures that's on one of that shows up every couple hours on one of the screens.
Yeah, it's a cool ship, and actually I did a bunch of research on it, and while it looks very clean in the movie, there is actually in the original model there's some weathering, so I did that. There was some, like I said, some complicated parts to get right. Like, I don't know if you can see it on this camera, but in these little recesses there's black paint, so I had to paint the insides of the wings before I assembled them, and the same thing on the front of the wings. There's these little oval shaped cavities. So do you
know who designed that?
I don't. But anyway, like I said, and actually the windows were originally clear, and I painted them black because if they were clear, you could actually see inside that there was nothing in there. Yeah. So I'll post
some of that stuff was done by the same people who did the Space 1999 stuff.
Oh, really?
So you can see similar design cues.
Anyway, I like that it looks very retro and it looks like a plane, but it's also a spaceship. So
no, it's cool.
Anyway, cool. That was a project that I did not tell you guys about.
Okay,
interesting.
Dave, what do you got?
Okay, I got two sort of weird little things. My company that I work, it just changed our name last week. So they were getting rid of stuff. There were boxes of hundreds of pens with our old name. So I took some, and it had our name on it, and I used acetone to take it off. And I just started this evening trying to make some regular Joe's pens.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
There's the rocket. It's too big, but I've got to work on that. So I'm working on these. Maybe I'll have some in time for.
So how did you do that? Was it the transfer thing or the?
No. I put that on the Glowforge.
How did you do the curve thing? How did you?
carves in, it cuts into the curves. It doesn't really seem to mind. This is the same thing I used on the pencil. I just made it a different size.
Right, yeah, but it would seem the curve to me would be complicated to do.
No, it really wasn't. Didn't
That's
seem
cool.
to bother it. Since it's a laser and not a tool, it seems like, you can hardly tell if one's deeper than the other, like towards the edges. But so my idea is to engrave it and then sort of paint it or fill it in with something.
Sure, yeah.
They actually sell these wax. Remember that I told you bought those
Right.
that Swiss Army knife? They sell this wax stuff you can do to fill in these engravings. So I'm going to play around with that.
Oh,
So
that's very
one thing.
cool.
I have 100 of these, so maybe
That's
I'll
cool.
make some time. And the other thing that's going to be on my workbench, I'm just started playing around with it. One of our listeners, Barry, you may have seen this because you actually look at our Facebook page. Derek Webster. Hey, Derek, thank you. We were talking about wanting a Jon Favreau pop if they made one, and
Yes.
they don't, but they do make a Happy Hogan one
Oh,
from the new movie.
yep.
And here's the thing I didn't know. I guess there's pops that are just regular, and some are
Yeah,
bobbleheads.
and then there's bobbleheads, yeah.
I don't like the bobbleheads.
I don't
at
All
all.
the Star Wars ones
Yep.
are bobbleheads, and that's why I've never collected them.
Oh, I don't like it. Someone gave me, this is another aside, someone gave me a Princess Leia bobblehead. I don't know who.
Someone gave me a Daredevil bobblehead also, yeah.
Like years ago, when as I'm throwing away all the stuff from my office because we're moving with our new name to a new office, I used to work in the Chrysler building. Well, when they at some point remodel the Chrysler building and take down the ceiling on the 6th floor, there is a Princess Leia bobblehead
Oh, that's
up
awesome.
in the ceiling. So anyway, back to this. So he's holding this dopey check, and the check does not necessarily come out of his hands unless you pry it out of his hands, and then he's got these weird hands. So
Yeah, and then he looks like he's like peeping over a fence or something. So
what we're gonna have to do, and I did get one for each of you, by the way.
that's awesome.
I got them on eBay, and they came in like 2 days. What we're gonna have to do is find the right body to put his head on.
Yes. Yep.
And I do think, what I could do is fill this hole,
Yep.
Glowforge
Yep.
a piece of acrylic to stick it in, and then we could just pop it onto a body.
Yeah.
Well, and if
so
we
we
could
don't
find
have
the
to have
right
this dopey
bodies,
box.
even if they're not painted right, I can repaint them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I
I'll
think
start
his
looking.
hair needs some painting too, because Happy Hogan has brown hair and a brown goatee, but Jon Favreau has a pretty much gray goatee and some gray in his hair.
Yeah.
So maybe,
I think we know a guy who could do that.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll make this a joint project that will.
That'll be fun.
We'll
That'll be
make
fun.
ourselves
I'll
Jon
get
Favreau.
working on some bodies. So
We'll be at near Comic-Con.
Well, I was going to say,
We'll
but I'll
find
go
somebody.
online. I'll do some research. I'll send you some suggestions.
Between New York and Rhode Island, we'll find plenty
Yeah.
of pops.
And then I think the best scenario would be to find a bobblehead body, because they just screw off.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like the JJ body does not really come off his head, and then there's this peg. So if we fill this hole, and I'm sorry, no one's able to see this. We fill this hole and put we can just pop the peg into the
Yeah,
hole.
that's
Okay,
great.
there you go.
So
Because I
yeah,
hate the bobblehead.
yeah. So
Anyways.
Yeah, I'm not a
guys,
big bobblehead
Take
fan
pictures
either.
take pictures of both your things.
Yes.
I've got one addendum to one of the things that we had talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago. Dave, you had your glasses your Blade Runner glasses that
Yes.
Sean had suggested to you, and I'm trying to get to Amazon here, and I'm going to tell you which ones not to buy.
Oh.
Because I've now bought 2 sets of these, and
really?
and returned one. Hang on. Just a second here. Yeah, the problem with updating all of your devices to the new iOS is you have to re-enter passwords. Anyways, good.
Dead
got it.
Air brought to you by.
Dead Air brought to you by. So, anyways, there's a set of 4 of these glasses, okay, and that's the one you got, Dave, right? You get the set of 4. Mm-hmm. The set of 2 by Solera, okay, were terrible. They were actually more expensive. It was about $6 more. The 4 were out of stock. One of the worst things like that I've ever bought. I'll send you guys a picture, but the rims were much thinner, and they were warped. And all 4 corners on one of the glasses, all 4 corners have different planes to them. It's like, it was really weird. And then another one, when I first looked at it, I took the first one out of the box, I looked at it and I thought, is that like meant to be like indented for your lips to go there or something like that? Because it was bowed in. And I'm like,
really?
Would that make it easier or harder to drink? Yeah, they're just really, really poorly done. So if you're looking to get a set of these, and the Solera ones are the only ones in stock, be patient, which I wasn't, and hold out for the set of 4 because they're much nicer. So, and I'm drinking from one right now. So
Cool.
I like to have a little bourbon along with my oxycodone. So
I didn't give you guys glasses, right? I got to remember.
You said you were going to.
For each of you.
Bring them to Rhode Island. It's easier to transfer goods at Rhode Island than New York Comic Con.
Yeah, I'm not carrying them to New York. So anyway, all right. So if you're going to New York Comic Con, let us know. Email us, podcast@regularjoes.com, or hit us up on LinkedIn. Not LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. How about
LinkedIn
Instagram or
took
Twitter
forever
or
to change my
Facebook?
yeah, hit us up on Tinder. Yeah.
Instagram. I'm on Grindr.
Ooh, I like OxyTod. This is fun.
Anyway, hit us up on those. Let us know if you're going. Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't look at Twitter. Sucks.
You keep
I
saying
looked at Twitter
LinkedIn. We
today
don't
for the
have a
first time in
LinkedIn.
week. It's all. Did I say Twitter?
No. You said LinkedIn again. It's okay.
Instagram. That's what I meant. Twitter is all people's dopey politics, so I don't really care. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, I knew it.
You're the one who has to get out.
I have a quick last
That's right.
thought.
You
always
ask.
ask.
Bailout
on
time.
the dot.
You always
it's exactly
ask.
9:30.
You always ask. You didn't ask. I have a quick
Todd,
last thought.
Do you have a last thought?
I have no last thoughts.
Thanks for listening. No.
No, this is a good one. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Hollywood Poster Frames. Good company to deal with. I highly recommend them. They have a website out of the early 90s, but they are great to deal with. They make poster frames for movies. They actually claim to supply movie studios, and I have no reason to doubt them. They also sell to the public. I ordered a couple frames from them. It's very specific size. They sent me the wrong ones by accident, and they did such a good job making up for it that I just thought it was worth mentioning. If you're looking for movie poster frames, they make them specifically for 27 by 40. But when you want 27 by 41, they can make those too. They have also a lot of other different sizes, lots of styles to choose from. But they're a cool place, and they were amazing to deal with when this little mistake was made there. Overcompensating for it in a lot of ways, so they've been great to deal with.
I gotta say, that is the measure of a good merchant, is how they deal, because everybody makes mistakes at some point. There's an error, and it's how they deal with it.
She couldn't even believe it. Not that she didn't believe me, but she was so upset that she made this mistake, and couldn't believe it, to the point where she can you please take a picture of the back of the frame, because they labeled the backs of the frames, and she was fixed it within a day, and I mean, let me keep everything that they sent me by mistake as an apology, which was pretty amazing. So good people, good company. Cool. That's my final thought.
And what are they again?
HollywoodPosterFrames.com.
There you go. Not a sponsor.
Nope.
And now, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.